I went crazy after becoming the heroine in a tragic novel. The male lead wanted to take my kidney to save his white moonlight, so I turned around and stabbed him. Justifiable self-defense. No need to thank me. The villainous female lead tried to push me into the sea, but I grabbed her by the collar. Go on, dive in. Later, the male lead knelt on the ground begging me not to die, to which I replied, I don't believe you. Unless you drink this bottle of 1982 weed killer with me first. What is it like to become the heroine of a tragic novel? I woke up on the operating table, surrounded by white-coated doctors. You're awake. I raised my hand. Excuse me, am I now the proud mother of multiple babies, all safe and sound, or did I just have my kidneys removed to save my white moonlight, and the surgery was a success? The doctor said, the surgery hasn't started yet, Mr. Xiao wants to say a few words to you. They stepped aside, revealing a domineering CEO standing not far away. This was Xiao Yunzue, the male lead who treated him like his first love, despite tormenting him countless times. Seeing him in the operating room still impeccably dressed in a sharp suit, with shiny new black leather shoes and a faint scent of cologne, it was clear that the hospital's management standards were severely lacking. Having surgery in such a hospital, I probably wasn't far from death. Xiao Yun's eyes were dark and deep, his thin lips parting slightly as he spoke calmly. Gu Yu. You know how important EE is to me, this kidney. Consider it a debt I owe you. From now on, I will do as you wish and dissolve our engagement. Who cares? A kidney just for a promise to dissolve the engagement. Even the boss of Myanmar would have to tattoo your name on his back. I glanced around. A kidney, you say? Xiao Yun was taken aback, his expression turning wary. What, do you want to back out? I lunged forward and grabbed the scalpel, laughing. How could I? I still want to go home. With that, I raised the scalpel to my neck. What a hassle. I might as well just give you my life. Being mysteriously transported to this godforsaken place was more than I could bear. I wanted to commit suicide and see if I could return home, whether it would work or not. I had no idea. Blood splattered everywhere, and I felt a sharp pain in my neck. My heart hardened, and I pressed down even harder, determined to cut deeper. The surrounding doctors were horrified, frantically trying to stop me. Guyu, no. Xiao Yun's face turned pale, disbelief etched across his features as he charged forward to wrestle the knife away, roaring like a dying beast. But the knife in my hand didn't even pierce my dermis. Some unseen force seemed to block my actions, and no matter how hard I tried, I simply couldn't cut any deeper. Xiao Yunzue had already grabbed me to stop me from taking the knife. But I thought for a moment, and while he blocked the doctor's view, I plunged the knife into his throat. Didn't it just go in? Xiao Yunzue stared at me in shock, clutching his neck as blood splattered all over my face. I patted him on the shoulder. When the police arrive, remember to tell them it was self-defense. Fortunately, the incident occurred in a hospital. As soon as Xiao Yunzue collapsed, the doctors carried him onto the operating table next to me and immediately began emergency treatment. I sat cross-legged on the bed, watching the surgery with great interest. When Xiao Yunzue was successfully resuscitated, the doctor wiped the sweat from his brow and then looked up at me, stunned. How are you still alive? I touched the wound on my neck. My coagulation function was working well, and the wound had already scabbed over. As expected of me, I said with regret, I hope the surgery fails and he dies soon. The doctors exchanged glances, then called the police. When the police took me away for investigation, I spoke with righteous indignation. They were forcing me to donate my kidney to Miss Chen Yi, so I fought back with all my might, accidentally injuring Xiao Yunzue, and even got my own neck cut in the process. The police said, but the doctors say you volunteered to donate your kidney. I widened my eyes. How is that possible? Donating organs requires a written agreement. Did I write one? And this agreement must be reviewed by the hospital ethics committee. Did they review it? Without these legal procedures, how can you say I voluntarily donated? The police were convinced by my words, glanced at Xiao Yunzue's testimony, and asked in a puzzled tone, so Xiao Yunzue is suspected of organ trafficking? I nodded. He must have told you that I was willing to donate a kidney to Chen Yi, in exchange for him breaking off the engagement, right? Do you think a normal person would donate their kidney for something like that? The police remained silent for a long time, then suddenly stood up and shook my hand. Miss Gu Yu, thank you very much for the evidence you provided. You can leave now. After the suspect Xiao Yunzue wakes up, we will review him for the crime of organizing the sale of human organs. Wait for him to wake up. So how is he now? The police kindly informed me that Xiao Yun was still unconscious due to postoperative infection. I knew it. That hospital that doesn't follow regulations must be unreliable, as I picked up the scalpel to stab myself. A girl's voice suddenly appeared in my mind. The voice, identical to mine, told me that she was the original female protagonist, Guyu, and that she had summoned my soul to this world to help her escape her original tragic fate. As long as I can free her from the male lead, Xiao Yunzue, I can go home. During this time, I possess the identity of the female lead and am protected by the plot, ensuring I won't die. I believe that with my intelligence and wit, I can easily complete the task. Xiao Yunzue still has some of the male lead's aura. One morning while I was having breakfast, he returned to the villa, his face pale, supported by the servants, trembling all over. I sipped my porridge and waved at him, greeting, "Yo, not off to the sewing machine today." Xiao Yunzue disdainfully said, "Guyu, you have no idea about my strength." Seeing his legs, soft as noodles and trembling desperately, I gave him a sympathetic look, thinking that even if he went to the sewing machine, he wouldn't be able to do much. No sooner had Xiao Yunzue stepped inside than a well-made-up woman rushed in. Upon seeing me intact and lively, her eyes immediately reddened. Chen Yi stomped her foot and pointed at me, shouting at Xiao Yunzue, "Why hasn't her kidney been given to me? Are you still harboring feelings for her, to the point where you don't care about my death?" I slurped a mouthful of porridge and said, "Let me tell you, sister, look at you, full of energy. And then look at Xiao Yunzue, so weak and feeble, it seems like he needs the kidney more than you do." Chen Yi's face turned ashen with anger. Xiao Yunzue hurriedly struggled to stand up, embracing her gently and saying, "This is an, accident, don't worry, I'll make her go through, the surgery right away." He coughed violently, and Chen Yi's anger immediately vanished without a trace. She supported Xiao Yunzue with concern, asking, "Yunzue Gij, what's wrong with you? Did that vile woman do this to you?" I said sarcastically, "Yes. It's the first time I've seen a criminal stop the victim from committing suicide. I was even ready to give my life to you, but Xiao Yunzue wouldn't let me, and he even rushed up to stop me." "Chen Yi, does he really love you?" Chen Yi's tears immediately streamed down her face as she looked at Xiao Yunzue in disbelief. "Yunzue Gij, is this true? Did you really get hurt for that woman?" Xiao Yunzue denied it outright. Don't listen to her nonsense. She's just jealous of you." Cough cough. I sighed deeply. "Beautiful lady, a man's words are the devil's lies. If Xiao Yunzue really loved you, why would he need a stand-in? During the years you were abroad for treatment, he slept with countless stand-ins. Aren't you disgusted?" Chen Yi looked at Xiao Yunzue with tears welling up, covering her face as she turned and ran. Xiao Yunzue cried out in anguish, "Don't go." Then, abruptly turning to me, his gaze was as cold and sharp as a blade. "How dare you drive away?" He raised his hand to strike me, and though I wanted to dodge, an invisible force held me in place, leaving me unable to move as I watched the slap about to land on my face. A gentle, half-hearted slap, like a spring breeze, brushed against my cheek. The spring breeze of reform swept the land, but the domineering CEO lacked the strength to strike. Xiao Yun's paper-thin body almost toppled over from the momentum, stumbling a few steps before managing to steady himself. I tilted my chin up at a 45-degree angle, exuding a mix of 3 parts coldness, 3 parts mockery, and 4 parts nonchalance as I sneered, "Did you skip dinner or something? With that little strength of yours, why don't you try sending me back to the Qing dynasty? Now, you've learned your lesson, haven't you?" Xiao Yunzue said breathlessly. Furious, I grabbed his collar and slapped him twice, sending Xiao Yunzue sprawling to the ground. A noble woman standing at the top of the stairs saw this scene and let out a sharp scream. "Ah, my Zui Zui. What are you all standing around for? Quickly tie up this wretch." My eyes lit up, and my fiery gaze locked onto Xiao Yunzue's mother. The servants, as if waking from a dream, one held down my legs while the other restrained my arms. I was like a Yangqing Lake hairy crab tied up in a bundle, glaring fiercely at Madame Xiao, my mouth emitting an eerie laughter. In the original story, this wicked mother-in-law forcibly took the child away after the female lead gave birth, even preventing them from meeting, and forced the grandson to call Chen Yi mom. After the female lead and the male lead got married, she made life difficult for the female lead in every possible way. But now, the moment she saw me, she shuddered with fear and hurried out as if fleeing. "I just wanted to go home, so why are you treating me like this?" A surge of strength suddenly burst forth within me. allowing me to break free from the grip of the servants, in my haste to reach Mrs. Xiao so she could torment me. I couldn't be bothered to stand up. Instead, I crawled on all fours, moving swiftly and stealthily, and in no time, I had reached behind Mrs. Xiao. Don't go, Mrs. Xiao turned around and was met with my feverish face and writhing, twisted body. She was so terrified that she froze, her only reaction being a piercing scream. I wrapped my arms around her legs and roared enthusiastically. Hit me, hit me, hit me, hit me, hit me, a tribute erupts, so scary. Madame Xiao suffers a mental explosion of 10,000 points. Madame Xiao begins to convulse, twitch, and foam at the mouth. Madame Xiao has been KO'd by me. Watching Madame Xiao being lifted onto a stretcher, I stood up and muttered to myself, feeling a bit lost. Why do all the wicked mother-in-laws seem to reform these days? Turning my head, I saw Xiao Yunzue still lying on the ground. I walked over to help him up, speaking softly. Darling, get up quickly, it's time for domestic violence. Xiao Yunzue immediately closed his eyes. He fainted. Alas, the road home is long and arduous indeed. Xiao Yun and Madame Xiao were unwell. Chen Yi had been driven away by me, and I enjoyed several days of peace. It wasn't until this day that I received a call from the parents of this body. The female lead in the original story grew up as a young lady of a wealthy family, living a life of luxury until her family went bankrupt at the age of 18, in order to raise funds to rebuild their fortune. Her parents sold her to the male lead, making her a stand-in for the male lead's beloved, Chen Yi, the white moonlight, in his heart. However, after I went mad, Xiao Yunzhong stopped sending money to my parents, using them to pressure me instead. I yawned and headed to their company. As soon as my mother saw me, she grabbed me and earnestly advised, Xiaoyu, Mr. Xiao said that if you agree to donate a kidney, he will marry you. Then you'll become Mrs. Xiao. And you won't have to worry about Xiao Yunzhong not loving you, will you? I've looked into it, and having one less kidney doesn't matter at all. You should agree. Father's eyes were sunken, and his hair was almost gone. He stroked his bald head and said, My dear daughter, have a little sympathy for your father. If Mr. Xiao doesn't invest, our family company will go under. I replied, then let it go under. Our family runs a limited liability company, only responsible for the amount invested. You both have hands and feet, you won't starve. If things get really bad, you can always beg. They were stunned. Xiaoyu, how can you say something so heartless? We're your real parents. Xiaoyu, Mr. Xiao treats you so well. Don't be ungrateful. Dad knows you're upset because of that Chen Yi. But Mr. Xiao has already said he'll marry you, hasn't he? I was getting annoyed. I said I'm not going. What can you do to me? The two of them fell silent for a moment. Then suddenly switched to a menacing expression. Mother said, We've raised you for so many years. It's time for you to pay back. If we can't get money from Mr. Xiao, your mother will have to sell you to someone else. They won't be as good to you as Mr. Xiao. Guyu, you'd better think carefully, Father said. If the company goes under, I might as well die. Guyu, are you really going to watch your father die? I'll tell everyone that you, Guyu, are a cold-hearted, unfilial daughter. Let's see who would dare marry you. One would think the protagonist was adopted. I sighed. I had originally planned to use my wit and intelligence to handle the situation, but then I realized that going crazy would be the most effective approach. After all, I can't die anyway. If it's just about money, let's see if you have the life to take it. Dad, Mom, I'm calling Xiao Yunzui right now. As long as you two come with me to perform a scene on the rooftop, Xiao Yunzui will definitely pay up. Father Gu and Mother Gu exchanged glances, revealing satisfied smiles. Xiaoyu, Mom and Dad knew that you're the most obedient one. On the rooftop of the 117-story high-rise, the fierce wind brushed against my cheeks. Gumu, being pulled by my hand, glanced down and then turned her head away uneasily. Xiaoyu, why did we come here? This building is so high. If we fell, we'd die, wouldn't we? Gu Fu rudely interrupted her. What a typical woman's sentimentality. Riches are sought in the midst of danger. By threatening Xiaoyu's life, Xiao Yun will definitely agree to lend us money. Gumu shrank back. But, isn't President Xiao not fond of Xiaoyu? I rolled my eyes. You know it all too well, don't you? But I smiled sweetly and gently said, Mom, if you fall from the 117th floor, your kidneys will be smashed too. Then they won't be able to transplant them to Chen Yi. Mother Gu suddenly understood. Xiao Yun indeed arrived as soon as he got the call. seeing the three of us standing on the edge of the rooftop. Several bodyguards quickly took out their phones to record, worried that we might try to extort their president. As soon as Mr. Gu saw Xiao Yunzue, he immediately started putting on a show, pretending as if he were about to jump, and shouted loudly, "Mr. Xiao, how could you cut off our company's investment? This is practically taking our entire family's life. If you don't invest, we'll jump off this building today, and you'll never see my daughter again." Mrs. Gu also squeezed out some tears and sobbed, "My daughter has been with you for 2 years, and even if she hasn't achieved much, she's worked hard. Yet you just watch our company go bankrupt. Do you even have a conscience?" Xiao Yunzue was getting annoyed and worried that I might really jump, so he said irritably, "All right, come down first. I'll transfer 20 million to your company account right away." Mr. Gu's eyes lit up, and he was about to agree on the spot, but I quickly whispered in his ear, "Dad, wait a little longer. We can get more money." Performing a simple act could earn so much money, and the greed in Father Gu's eyes intensified, under the stimulus of money. His movements became larger and more exaggerated, bringing him closer and closer to the edge. "Xiao Yunzue, you think you can get rid of me with just 20 million? My daughter has been bullied by you for 2 years. Do you think I'm a pushover? Today I will." Before he could finish, taking advantage of his deliberate backward lean, I cried out, "Mom and Dad, if we're going to die, let's die together," and pulled their hands, rushing toward the edge of the rooftop. Their eyes still filled with shock just before I pulled them over. "I guess you're thinking, don't you fear death? Sorry, but I really can't die." Just as I was falling, that invisible force returned, and I hooked my left foot onto a steel bar, halting my descent mid-air. The bodyguards rushed up and pulled me back. Watching those two figures grow smaller and smaller, I remained silent for a moment, then suddenly slapped Xiao Yunzue. "You owe me my parents." The next day's headline: Hot Search. CEO of the Xiao Corporation drives a family of 3 to their deaths. How can he sleep at night? No one cared whether the daughter in the family of 3 was actually dead or not. Just as Xiao Yun was recovering from a serious illness, he was thrust into the limelight again, causing the company's stock prices to plummet. Competing company Zhou Corp seized the opportunity, kicking them while they were down, and propelled themselves to become the industry leader. At this time, he had to lie low at home, but due to his depressed mood, he took me to a cruise ship restaurant for a meal. Chen Yi was naturally present, glaring at me with venomous eyes as I happily devoured my food following behind Xiao Yun. She walked over, putting on an act of being delicate and innocent, and softly asked me, "Guyu, can I speak with you alone for a moment?" This sentence, in my mind, was automatically translated to, "Can I kill you alone?" I gladly agreed. We moved away from the crowd and reached the deck of the cruise ship. What a great spot. Chen Yi probably hasn't been keeping up with the news, or she wouldn't know that the last time someone fell from a place like this, it was my parents. I bet she's going to push me overboard. Chen Yi took a deep breath and spoke first. "What will it take for you to leave Xiao Yunzue?" I thought about it, and if I couldn't complete the task, I might have to stay with Xiao Yunzue for the rest of my life. So I shook my head and said, "I'm not leaving." Chen Yi was trembling with anger. "You're just a stand-in. Yunzue Gage could never love you." Yes, yes, yes. She glared at me with a look of pure malice for a moment, then suddenly lunged forward, shoving me hard as she screeched, "Then go die." In that instant, countless diving scenes I had watched on the sports channel flashed through my mind. With a smile on my face, I raised my hands tightly to the sides of my ears, preparing to plunge gracefully and powerfully into the sea, but I didn't make it in. This time, it was my body that moved on its own, my legs tightly hooked onto the railing, and my head hung down over it, swaying back and forth a couple of times. Could it really be like this? Looking up from below, I saw Chen Yi covering her mouth, staring at me in shock. "Since I can't go home, neither are you going to have it easy." I performed a pull-up, propping myself up abruptly and grabbing Chen Yi by the collar, then letting gravity pull me down, dragging her straight into the sea. My upper body traced a smooth arc through the air. Chen Yi let out a sharp scream, and I found myself hanging from the railing again, watching her figure thud into the sea, like a Filipino diver. "Now that's better." I hung upside down from the railing, blood rushing downward, feeling an inexplicable clarity. I don't know how long Chen Yi struggled in the sea before someone finally noticed us. I immediately perked up and shouted, "Forget about her, save the child." The man was taken aback. "Who's the child?" I said. "Me." he suddenly burst into laughter as if someone had pressed his laughter acupoint, pulling me up while laughing. In the moonlight, I finally got a clear look at his face. It was Zhou Yibai, the unlucky male second lead from the book, and Xiao Yun's arch-nemesis. He helped me walk inside, and I was stunned. "Aren't you going to save the one in the sea?" Zhou Yibai said. "The child is more important." We both burst into uncontrollable laughter, but Chen Yi was still rescued, coughing up water as she lay on the deck, her face pale, struggling to catch her breath, yet still managing to insist that I had pushed her in. Xiao Yun was instantly enraged, charging over to hit me. "Gu Yu, you vicious woman, I'm going to kill you right now." "As if you could kill me," I gave a disdainful smile, completely abandoning the idea of trying anything, rolling up my sleeves. I was about to have a fight with Xiao Yunzue when the man lazily standing to the side suddenly reached out to block. "It's so degrading to hit a woman, don't you think, Mr. Xiao?" This guy had been standing by, smiling and watching the drama unfold as Chen Yi accused me, but now he stepped forward. Xiao Yunzue's gaze flicked between me and Zhou Yibai, and suddenly his face darkened. "Gu Yu, so you've been hooking up with Zhou Yibai all along." "Who's hooking up?" "He's the one who hugged my leg and pulled me up in the first place." "Chen Yi, is there anyone who will speak up for me?" She let out a scream. "Xiao Yunzue, at a time like this, are you still concerned about whether Gu Yu has cheated?" "She almost killed me," I blinked, speaking very calmly. "I didn't, but by the time they found us, I had already been rescued. My clothes weren't even wet, while Chen Yi was struggling in the sea." My words really didn't carry much weight. Those present had already started speaking one after another. "There are no surveillance cameras on the cruise ship. If Miss Chen hadn't been discovered, it would have been a case of no evidence to prove anything. This woman is too vicious, isn't she?" To eliminate her rival, she actually pushed the person into the sea. "If it wasn't you who pushed her, then why didn't you call for help? Were you just going to watch Miss Chen die?" In their accusations, it seemed I was being pinned as the culprit who had pushed Chen Yi into the sea. I looked at Zhou Yibai, who stood far away with his arms crossed, wearing an expression that seemed to be enjoying the spectacle. Completely unlike the way he falls head over heels for the female lead and becomes her protector in the original story, I turned my gaze to Xiao Yunzue, whose face bore an oppressive aura of an impending storm, his eyes growing colder by the moment. It's time to go crazy again. Indeed, madness is addictive." My body trembled, my eyes began to redden, and tears dripped one by one onto the deck. Looking around, "You don't believe me, do you?" Everyone remained silent, staring at me with skeptical eyes. I slowly took a step back, wiped away my tears, raised my chin at a 35-degree angle, and revealed a stubborn expression, like a delicate white flower. "Since that's the case, I'll prove my innocence with my death." As I finished speaking word by word, I turned around like a bull and charged straight for the railing again. With a leap of my long legs, I vaulted over the railing with the agile grace of Lu Xiang possessed, and plunged into the sea. Now let's see how the plot can stop me from this self-destructive act. In the midst of the crowd's exclamations, I successfully flew off the cruise ship, about to dive into the embrace of the sea. The sea breeze caressed my long hair, and the salty scent of the ocean filled my nostrils. It was the scent of freedom. Swoosh, I was caught around the waist by a thick hemp rope, suspended in midair. I slowly turned my head and saw Zhou Yibai had somehow thrown a lasso made of hemp rope, just like a cowboy roping a bull, and caught me in midair. Why is this guy completely different from the male lead in the original story? In the original story, the male lead was gentle and refined, elegant and graceful, a frail scholar who couldn't even lift a chicken, comparable to Xiao Yunzue's current physical condition. But there he stood on the deck, pulling on the rope with all his strength, his face not flushed, his breath steady, slowly pulling me up. Social death. Isn't that a kind of death too? When my feet touched the ground again, tears streamed down my face. A group of people rushed over to comfort me. "Miss Gu, we're sorry, we should have believed you. I never expected Chen Yi to be such a person. It must be that she tried to push you off and ended up being punished by heaven herself. Can't we just talk things out? Why resort to death to prove your innocence? Luckily, young Master Zhou saved your life." Even Xiao Yun's eyes showed a slight tremor as he said with a complex expression, "Just because I didn't believe you, you proved it so resolutely. Gu Yu, I never thought you loved me this much." Chen Yi couldn't believe what she was seeing and screamed hysterically, "Why don't you believe me? She pushed me off. Do you believe her just because she wanted to jump into the sea? She didn't even die. Everyone condemned her. You've gone too far." Isn't this enough to prove that Guyu is innocent? Chen Yi choked back tears and said, but she jumped into the sea on purpose. Everyone shook their heads. What are you talking about? Who would deliberately seek death? Right, who else but me would do such a thing? From then on, Chen Yi saw me even more as a thorn in her eye. Laughable. Who cares? I'm now more curious about what's going on with the male lead of this world. They say his character has collapsed, yet he saved me in the end. They say he fell in love with me at first sight. But when I was in trouble, he just stood by and watched the show. Since the incident on the cruise ship, Xiao Yun's attitude towards me has also started to become strange. I thought he merely believed that Chen Yi was lying, that his rose-colored glasses about her had shattered. Little did I expect that Xiao Yun was the most discreet one. Having investigated the past and discovered that the person who had saved him back then was not Chen Yi, but Guyu, in the original story. Chen Yi became Xiao Yun's white moonlight because she had saved him when he was kidnapped at the age of 13. However, in reality, someone else had saved him. At the time, Guyu had done a good deed without seeking recognition, and since she was still a wealthy young lady, she didn't care about the gratitude from the Xiao family. Thus, she didn't step forward when the Xiao family was searching the world for the savior. Guyu's childhood friend, Chen Yi, came from a poor family. Having witnessed Guyu's act of saving Xiao Yun, she took credit for the deed, becoming Xiao Yun's white moonlight. She even went so far as to fabricate a kidney disease to demand the heroine's kidney. When Xiao Yun's was stormed in with teary eyes, I was comfortably lying on the sofa watching Zhou Yibai on TV. He had taken over the role of the male third lead and was thriving in the entertainment industry. To be honest, the TV dramas he starred in were quite enjoyable. Xiao Yun's eyes immediately locked onto Zhou Yibai's flawless, magnified face on the screen. His expression twitched, and he knelt excitedly in front of me, reaching out to grab my hand. Guyu, I've finally understood everything. It turns out that 10 years ago, we already had this fate. I waved my hand dismissively, like shooing away a fly. Move aside, you're blocking my view of the TV. Guyu, are you still unwilling to forgive me? It was my fault back then when I asked you to donate a kidney to her. How can you forgive me? I moved a bit to the side, immersed in the plot, and casually said, an eye for an eye, perhaps. Xiao Yun remained silent for a few seconds, then suddenly said, all right, I'll give it all back to you. I looked over in surprise, only to see him pull out a dagger and thrust it forcefully into his own abdomen. I said, wrong, the kidneys are at the back. Haven't you studied biology, you idiot? Xiao Yun was the most stunned. I bent down to carefully examine his wound, thinking that if we didn't call a doctor soon, the injury might just heal on its own. I sighed, forget it. If you're truly sincere about repenting, then stop messing around and just listen to me. After saying that, I called the Chinese Organ Donation Center. Half an hour later, several volunteers excitedly knocked on the door. Which deceased person is donating their organs? I pointed at Xiao Yunzue. They looked troubled and said, he's not dead yet. I nodded. Although he's not dead, he's close. He's willing to donate his organs after death. Xiao Yunzue's face showed a flicker of hesitation, but he still agreed. Yes, I voluntarily donate my organs after death. Although it was a bit of a pity that there were no ready organs to donate, the volunteers still enthusiastically helped him fill out the donation agreement. Bored of waiting, I filled one out myself. The original female lead was confined alive by the Xiao family and, after her death, was consumed completely, flesh and bone. No one even knew of her existence. If after death, one's organs could save those still living, it would surely be a comfort to her, wouldn't it? After the volunteer left, I still couldn't help but feel angry looking at Xiao Yunzue. I asked, do you know who saved you back then? Xiao Yunzue's face showed pain. Guyu, it's all Chen Yi's fault. That bitch pretended to be you, blinding me for so many years. What? In your eyes, you're completely blameless. You fell in love with Chen Yi because she saved you, and as soon as you found out it wasn't her, you immediately dumped him. So if it wasn't me who saved you, but a man who looked like a dung beetle, you'd fall in love with him too, right? Xiao Yunzue was stumped by my question and pleaded with me. Guyu, please don't slander the pure love between us. I almost vomited. I interrupted Xiao Yunzue's words. Since I saved you back then, shouldn't you give me some repayment? Xiao Yun asked most bewilderedly. Isn't my love for you the best repayment? I had a sudden inspiration and asked in a different way. Then shouldn't you prove your love for me to me? How to prove it? Marry me, make me the first beneficiary in your will. and then we'll be the closest people in the world. The last thing Xiao Yun expected was for something in this world to happen that would kill him, the male lead, so he agreed readily. But I knew that something was about to happen, giving me the perfect opportunity to get rid of him. On Xiao Yun's birthday, Chen Yi and I were kidnapped. The kidnappers demanded that Xiao Yun choose one woman for a ransom of $100 million. In his previous life, Xiao Yun was unaware of the truth, so he chose Chen Yi. Fortunately, the kidnapper was the male fourth character, a member of a gang, who had also been saved by the female lead before. Upon recognizing her identity, he let her go and helped her fake her death to escape abroad. But as soon as I opened my eyes, "Why is it you again?" Not only was the role of the top-tier actor male third character taken, but even the position of the gang leader male fourth character was replaced by Zhou Yibai. He rubbed his nose. "Sorry, I mainly wanted to change the tragic fate of the male lead. Making money was just a side effect. I couldn't help but feel inferior. As a fellow traveler, I've been too busy going crazy, and I haven't earned a single cent yet." Then go tie up Xiao Yunzue. He's the source of the male lead's tragic life. "Why are you helping me?" But I didn't expect that as a male lead traveler, his restrictions were greater than mine, forcing him to follow the plot. So when I jumped into the sea, he was controlled by an irresistible force and caught me. It was like reliving a social death scenario, and I told him to stop, to say no more. "Here's the deal," he said, "you switch places with Chen Yi, and let Xiao Yun choose. The one he doesn't choose will die. Xiao Yun will definitely choose me. But when he realizes he's made a mistake and I'm about to die, he'll be devastated. That's when you take the opportunity to drug him and sell him to northern Myanmar. In my previous life, the female lead was forced to flee abroad by him. Now it's his turn to go abroad." Zhou Yibai shuddered. "What a ruthless heart. I love it." With the plan set, Zhou Yibai stuffed me and Chen Yi into 2 large cloth-wrapped cages. He gave me one filled with cola and spicy strips, and woke Chen Yi up with her mouth gagged. Xiao Yun finally arrived alone, just as I had hoped. He said coldly, "If you have something to say it to me." Bullying a woman is not a man's way. Completely forgetting how he almost charged at me in front of everyone that time, Zhou Yibai, wearing a mask, sunglasses, and a baseball cap, pointed a dagger at my cage and said, "Chen Yi." Then he pointed to Chen Yi's cage. "Guyu, choose one between the two, for $100 million. I'll let you take her away." My eyes widened instantly. "What, $100 million? Why didn't you mention this when we were discussing it? After Xiao Yun's death, isn't all the money going to be mine? That $100 million will be mine too." "Zhou Yibai, how dare you take my money?" I saw the cage where Chen Yi was, making a muffled sound. Chen Yi rolled on the ground, desperately making noises for help. Then she heard Xiao Yunzue's voice, unhesitating, "I choose Guyu." Chen Yi froze, but the next second, Chen Yi realized that her own cage was slowly descending, and she revealed an expression of wild joy. Xiao Yunzue suddenly rushed forward to lift the cage, only to see Chen Yi's face, and immediately showed a look of pain. "You tricked me." My cage began to descend as well, and I quickly stuffed the cola and spicy strips into my mouth, spritzed some toothpaste foam around my lips, and pretended to collapse weakly inside the cage. Zhou Yibai said regretfully, "What a pity, the poison has already taken effect." Xiao Yun held me in his arms, the most desperate, kneeling on the ground and begging me not to die. He choked out, "Guyu, if you die, I won't live either. Come on, you." When the female lead of your past life died, you only shed a few tears, and you still lived just fine, didn't you? But I weakly collapsed into his arms, gently stroking his face. "Really? Don't you believe me?" I said. "I don't believe you, unless you drink this bottle of 1982 Paraquat with me." I rummaged under the cushion, first finding my Coke and tossing it aside, and after much effort, I managed to pull out a green bottle labeled Paraquat. Of course, it wasn't really Paraquat inside, but rather a sedative. Xiao Yun hesitated the most. I asked him bitterly, "Do you still love me, or not?" Xiao Yunzue turned his face away. "Guyu, I don't think love needs to be proven through suicide." Just as I was about to leap up and say, "It's not up to you," a scream rang out. "Xiao Yunzue, you bastard." Somehow, Chen Yi had been released, and she rushed over, forcing a sedative down Xiao Yunzue's throat. "Since you betrayed my love, just go die." Then Chen Yi looked at me, who was stunned, and frowned. "Why are you still not dead?" I didn't know what to do, glanced at Zhou Yibai, hesitated for a moment, and then closed my eyes and fell to the ground pretending to be dead. The emotionally agitated Chen Yi was knocked out by Zhou Yibai and taken back for police interrogation. Xiao Yun was drugged and sent to northern Myanmar, fulfilling his dream of having his kidneys harvested. I, on the other hand, was rescued and successfully revived. As soon as I was off the operating table, I received the news of Xiao Yun's death and inherited his vast fortune. Zhou Yibai took this opportunity to shed his underworld identity, and whether the male lead will end up with the female lead is not something we can predict in the future. In any case, I have left the female lead with a healthy and prosperous new future. After the dust settled, it was time for both Zhou Yibai and me to return. I heard Zhou Yibai talking to the male lead. Brother, trust me, acting isn't that hard. If the third male lead can do it, why can't you? Believe in yourself. Why are you cursing at me? That's going too far, isn't it? And I advised the female lead, no matter who you end up with in the future, protect your money. If anyone tries to take it from you, go crazy like I do. Remember that, okay? Finally, Zhou Yibai and I exchanged a glance, closed our eyes, and our souls simultaneously left our bodies, drifting into the endless void. In the next second, I felt a jolt as I was knocked to the ground. Sorry, I wasn't looking where I was going. The person seemed just as startled, rubbing their forehead for a moment before looking up, and by then, I had already seen their face. Zhou Yibai, you're like a ghost that just won't leave me alone. A few girls in the distance caught sight of his face and let out hushed screams. Zhou Yibai, it's Zhou Yibai. Ah, Zhou Yibai turned and ran, but I instantly scrambled up and grabbed his hand, refusing to let go. Give me back my $100 million. Zhou Yibai glanced back at me, didn't struggle, and instead pulled me along with him as we ran. No, why am I running after him? But inexplicably, I found myself running alongside him. The crowd behind us grew larger, and Zhou Yibai suddenly burst into uncontrollable laughter, as if someone had pressed a laughing point. I don't know why, but I started laughing and running with him, as if caught up in the same madness. The noonday sun bathed us in its light as he held my hand, running together toward the distant horizon. After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. The chosen vicious female antagonist, the caretaker of the paralyzed heroine, with a monthly salary of 50,000, all meals and lodging included, plus an internship certificate. I diligently fulfill my role with utmost dedication. Soon the female lead couldn't take it anymore. After working for a month, you've had food poisoning once, knocked out 2 front teeth, caught a fever 3 times from getting soaked in the rain, and I've taken care of you for 4 weeks. Who's really the nanny here? I nervously stepped back, only to knock over and shatter an antique vase. The female lead gritted her teeth. The vase is worth 5 million, and your internship certificate is gone. Just before graduating from my senior year, I was bound to a vicious female supporting character system. The system tasked me with applying to be the nanny for the female lead, Qin Su. My mission was to sabotage her relationship with the male lead, bully her, and mistreat her. After completing the task, the reward would be enough for me to live a carefree life forever. I patted my chest. Haven't eaten pork, but haven't seen a vicious female antagonist. With my beauty, seducing the male lead will be a piece of cake. The system hesitated, wanting to say something but stopping itself. The person who recruited me was Qin Shuzhou, brother of Qin Su and the head of the Qin group. He looked as if he found it hard to speak. Zhou Fan, Qin Su has a bad temper and doesn't like to talk much, and a few special little hobbies. You two are the same age, so maybe you have something in common. Special little hobbies. I hugged myself tightly, on guard. I'm just a nanny. I sell my skills, not my body. And definitely not my kidneys. Qin Xingzhou frowned, looking at me as if I were an idiot. He sighed deeply. A monthly salary of 50,000, with meals and lodging included. My eyes lit up. Will you provide an internship certificate? He smiled with profound meaning. Of course, it's settled. I smiled sweetly as I signed the contract. Sell whatever you want. Internship certificate, monthly salary of 50,000. This vicious female antagonist is meant to be played by me. Qin Xingzhou gave me the address. That very day, I dragged all my belongings, a large sack, into Qin Su's villa. Good heavens, the young lady's taste is indeed unique. The black and white living room is draped with white gauze. White flower baskets were placed on the ground. Her black and white photo was displayed in the center. Even when my whole family was gone, The house was more festive than this living room, so the young lady likes cosplay, huh? The system reminded me. The first step of being a malicious female antagonist. Crush the heroine's hobbies. Chin Su loved minimalist black and white styles and hated anything pink and cute, so I spent the entire afternoon painting the living room walls pink. I filled the sofa with stuffed animals. This is some old junk I dug out from the storage room, covered in dust. I'm really the worst. As soon as Chin Su emerged, her eyes turned red. I cried too, because the young lady came out in a wheelchair. Her long hair covered half of her face. Her skin was pale, devoid of any color. She looked like a gloomy maiden straight out of a comic. I wanted to slap myself, and the system wanted to slap me twice. We truly deserved to die. The guilt didn't even last a minute. Chin Su rubbed the pink wall paint off the doll and tossed it into my lap, said coldly, "If it's not clean, I'll deduct it from your salary." Deduct it then. I earn $50,000 a month, confidently flipping over the price tag. It nearly scared me to death. Heavens, 4 zeros, a month's salary gone. As the famous celebrity Van Zijshood Joe once said, money only flows from the left pocket to the right pocket of the wealthy. I furiously scrubbed at the stain on the doll. Damn the rich. What a move. One plan fails, another takes its place. Qin Xingzhou had mentioned that Chin Su had a light palate and that meals were delivered to her daily. I secretly ordered extra spicy snail noodles with double the pickled bamboo shoots, at my own expense. Reimbursement request to Qin Xingzhou at the end of the month. I can't afford to lose my salary and still pay for dinner out of my own pocket. Step 2 of the evil female supporting character's plan. Torment the heroine's stomach. As soon as the doorbell rang, a dazzlingly handsome man pinched his nose and knocked open the door. I'm still holding 2 takeout boxes. Oh, a delivery guy, so handsome. Yet he can only deliver takeout to the female lead. No wonder she's the female lead. She eats so well. The handsome man frowned, his expression one of disgust. What is that? Why does it smell so bad? I rolled my eyes. He was quite handsome, but unfortunately, he also had a mouth. How can you eat such a thing? Please, I'm the vicious female antagonist. Not only would I eat it, but I would also force the female lead to eat it. The young lady specifically asked for this. You're really meddlesome. This is the male lead, Lu Hang. The system's eerie voice echoed in my mind. Thank you for bringing it. The young lady was getting hungry. I immediately changed my expression and shifted the blame onto Chin Su. No male lead would enjoy the company of a female lead who eats extra sour bamboo shoots and super spicy river snails noodles. Not even a young lady from a wealthy family. Xiao Su, how could you eat such a thing? Lu Hang said anxiously to someone behind me. I turned around and saw that Chin Su had somehow appeared behind me. She didn't even glance at Lu Hang once, reaching out to snatch the rice noodles with fermented bamboo shoots. Taking a deep breath, she swallowed her anger and ate it all. Not a single bite was left. SSSH saw a touch of color return to his pale face. My tongue was burning. Lu Heng tried to dissuade her several times, but Chin Su ignored him each time. I watched with bated breath. Miss, with such dedication, you'll succeed in anything you do. To complete the task more quickly, I stayed up all night reviewing the story of the male and female leads in the book. Lu Heng was an orphan adopted by the Qin family and grew up with Chin Su. He and Chin Su were childhood sweethearts, compliantly obedient to Chin Su, would fetch the stars rather than the moon. But Chin Su's parents saw through his feelings for Chin Su and issued a covert warning. He could only suppress the love in his heart. When Chin Su shyly confessed her feelings, he forced himself to endure the heartache and said coldly, "Miss, don't toy with me. How could I possibly be worthy of someone as noble as you? Talking about love, you really disgust me." After that, he resolutely left the country. To be worthy of Chin Su, he started from scratch abroad and finally achieved success before daring to return to pursue her again. However, Chin Su was involved in a car accident, leaving her with crippled legs. And her parents also tragically died in the crash. Overwhelmed with guilt towards her parents, she had no will to live. She was no longer the young lady whose world once revolved solely around Lu Heng. I, the vicious female antagonist, bullied her, mistreated her, made her angry, and inadvertently sparked her will to survive. In the end, she and Lu Heng overcame countless hardships and finally came together. After listening to the system's explanation, I patted my chest and assured them. One was too tight-lipped back then, and the other is now too self-conscious. This time, I'll definitely make the young lady cry her eyes out. Chin Su ate spicy snail noodles for 3 days straight. I ate nutritious meals for 3 days, mushroom and seafood sashimi rice. I've never had such a delicacy in my life. At 2 in the morning, I was vomiting and had diarrhea, running to the bathroom over a dozen times. Toilet brother held me back, not letting me leave. Drink up. We're not going home until we're drunk. I waved my hand. I can't drink anymore. I really can't. The toilets of the wealthy are indeed different. They can even talk. I started chatting with the toilet. With a click, the door suddenly opened, and a beautiful face appeared in the glow. So white. I think I saw my great-grandmother. Great-grandma. Would you like some too? Great-grandma's face was grim as she prepared to take me home. I'm not going back. All my family is gone. And I'm the only one left. Toilet brother said there are handsome guys here. Just as handsome as him. Great-grandma, do you like fair-skinned ones? Or those with abs? Great-grandma gently coaxed me. I'll take you to a good place, where everyone wears uniforms. My eyes lit up. Uniforms. Hee hee. I climbed onto the wheelchair and clung to my great-grandmother's leg. Great-grandma's embrace was so warm, so fragrant. When I woke up, everything was a blur of white. There were also doctors and nurses in white coats, so it was this uniform. The sound of medical equipment ticking could be heard, mixed with a familiar voice. Xiaoxiu, you've gone too far. Do you think money can buy anything you want? The speaker was Qin Xingzhou, his voice suppressed with anger. However, Qin Su turned sideways to him, remaining silent. Seeing me awake, Qin Xingzhou suddenly changed his expression, greeting me warmly. How are you feeling, Zhou Fan? It's all Xiao Su's fault. I'll definitely teach her a lesson. Just as I was about to speak, my throat felt as if it had been glued shut with super glue, and I could only manage to make sounds, so I made an effort to raise my hand, pointed to my cracked lips, and looked at Qin Xingzhou expectantly. Qin Xingzhou gave me a knowing look and skillfully pulled out a card from his pocket. Hush money. Oh no, nutrition fee. He didn't give me a chance to refuse, sobbing and wiping his nose as he complained. Qin Su had been like a completely different person since the car accident. She was irritable, staying cooped up at home all day without stepping outside, and unwilling to speak. Please don't call the police. I hope I can forgive Qin Su this one time. I helplessly stared at the ceiling. Alas, he's so noisy. I want some water. Heaven didn't hear my voice. Qin Su heard it. She wants water. Qin Su looked exasperated and interrupted Qin Xingzhou's lament. I looked at her gratefully. A timely savior, I declare. The vicious female antagonist plan is suspended. Qin Xingzhou arranged for Qin Su to also stay in the hospital, VIP family ward. He said warmly, let Xiao Su take care of you. As soon as he left, Qin Su and I stared at each other. Her in her wheelchair, wait, with her like that, who's taking care of whom? Qin Su sat by the window. Time stood still in tranquility. I followed her gaze. Oh, Lu Heng is here. This is my chance to make a move. Using my leg speed, I got to the hospital room door first, greeted with a radiant smile. Lu Heng, holding a bouquet of flowers, hurried past me. All eyes were on Qin Su. Today, I'll stay with you, and I won't go anywhere else. I barged into Lu Heng. Squeezing myself forcefully between the two of them, Qin Su has me to accompany her. That's enough. Qin Su ignored him. He ignored me even more. Being ignored by the protagonist is the fate of the vicious female supporting character. The system spoke sarcastically, its tone dripping with mockery. With your beauty, seducing the male lead should be a breeze. I viciously abused that bouquet of flowers, but the seduction failed. I came up with a new idea. Destroy the images each has of the other. Crush now is the rubbish. I listened carefully to Lu Heng's voice from within. Do you remember that snack shop in the northern part of the city? We used to sneak off to eat there all the time. Qin Su's expression softened, as if she were beginning to waver. I played the news outside the door. The North City Snack Street has been acquired at a low price by the Lu Corporation, leaving many snack shop owners without a means of livelihood. When you were little, you used to love playing hide and seek, and I could always find you. Actually, I secretly checked the family surveillance. Beware, women should stay away from men who spy on you. Qin Su's facial muscles twitched. Lu Heng took a deep breath, his eyes sharp as if they could cut through someone. Just at that moment, the phone rang. Over and over again, Lu Heng's expression was somewhat troubled. He apologized helplessly. Xiaoxiu, there's an urgent matter at the company. I promised you. I'll be right back. Qin Su finally spoke. Lu Heng, don't come again. I don't want to see you. his body trembled slightly, and he clenched his fists tightly. Xiaoxiu, you need someone to take care of you now. I want to be with you, Qin Su coldly replied. I don't need you anymore. Zhou Fan is taking care of me. Hearing my name, I proudly flaunted myself in front of Lu Heng. Did you hear that? I'm Qin Su's #1 lackey. He was disheartened and abruptly pushed me aside. Rushing out the door, I winced and rubbed my shoulder, sticking my tongue out at him. Serves you right that Qin Su ignores you. Qin Su sat quietly by the window, unaware of what she had seen, a slight smile playing on her lips. So beautiful, but I'm the vicious female antagonist, and I won't allow her to be more beautiful than me. The system tells me, the young lady pursues fairness, youthfulness, and slimness, I thought viciously. May you be fair and slender, for the next few days. I unleashed my most vicious tactics. I made Qin Su run around in circles. Qin Su, I need to go to the bathroom. I sat on Qin Su's lap, threatening that if she didn't agree, I wouldn't get up. She mustered all her strength, her face turning red, and managed to get me to the bathroom. Qin Su, help me get the takeout. She ignored me, so I hugged the blanket and cried, accusing her of ingratitude, saying it was all because of her nutritious meals that I got food poisoning from mushrooms. Qin Su covered her ears and fled in panic. After being chased away by Qin Su that day, Lu Heng never appeared again. No one can hinder my evil female supporting character plan. I intensified my torment of Qin Su. Qin Su, I want to go downstairs to bask in the sun. I sat in the wheelchair prepared for patience and asked Qin Su to push me downstairs. She could no longer hold back and slapped her own legs forcefully. Zhou Fan, you only had your stomach pumped. I'm the one who can't walk. Do you believe I'll dock your pay? The young lady scolded me. She finally cracked. I'm satisfied, basking in pride. Ignoring Qin Su's objections, I pushed her downstairs to bask in the sun. She visibly darkened after spending 2 hours in the sun each day. The system kept praising me. To come up with such a devious scheme, you truly live up to being the wicked female antagonist I chose. I chuckled awkwardly, complimenting me. Not sure, let's see, after a week of my torment. Qin Su's frequency of scolding me skyrocketed. Zhou Fan, are you sick or something? I'm telling you one last time, I don't play shuttlecock. I'm not participating in the wheelchair marathon either. Although the event didn't happen, Qin Su spoke more in one day than she had in the past month combined. I felt quite accomplished. Qin Xingzhou was also very pleased. He was overwhelmed with gratitude. It's still you of the same age who have common ground. A bank card was suddenly thrust into my hand. Qin Hangzhou's hush money. Oh no, his nutritional fee for me has doubled again. This is work-related injury compensation. You deserve it. He winked at me, thanking me. I wheeled myself to the bathroom door. A cleaner had just helped push Qin Su's high-end wheelchair. I rubbed my hands together, ready to go. The system and I were indeed in sync. Evil supporting female role plan. Activate. I smirked maliciously. Shifting my weight to sit on Qin Su's wheelchair. When Qin Su was helped out, I was comfortably seated in her wheelchair, not moving an inch. She pouted at me. You sit there. She looked at me with confusion and obediently sat in the other wheelchair. I felt at ease. The young lady's wheelchair was an expensive model. Indeed, it was different, faster than the electric bikes beside me, with the downhill slope. I zoomed down on my wheelchair in a flash. Awesome, just as I was done feeling awesome. A sharp horn blared in my ears, and ahead, a large truck was speeding straight towards me. The driver seemed to be coming straight at me. I frantically pressed the brake, but the wheelchair was completely out of control. Picking up speed, I desperately turned to the right, and another family sedan appeared in the right front of my vision. I could even see the anxious face of the driver in the car to my side. The pregnant woman in the passenger seat looked in agony, in the nick of time. I lunged sharply to the right ditch. The wheelchair made a turn and crashed into a tree, spewing a puff of black smoke. The car passed by with a narrow escape. The large truck also roared past the road behind me. When Qin Su arrived, the wheelchair was already sparking. Zhou Fan, are you okay? I just grinned and let it go, but then I started spitting out a lot of bloody bubbles. I clung to Qin Su without letting go. Wah, so much blood. I'm going to die. Less than 10 minutes after being discharged, Qin Su dragged me up another hill, huffing and puffing, and then sent me back to the hospital. After the full body checkup, there were a few minor scrapes. The most serious injury was a chipped half of a front tooth. You mean she only has gum bleeding, not any internal injuries? After receiving the doctor's affirmative response, Qin Su relaxed. I silently lowered my head, trying to minimize my presence. The wheelchair's wheels were bent out of shape, and I almost met my end here. Qin Xingzhou strode over with long, confident steps. Xiaoxiu, just as you said, I checked the surveillance footage. Someone tampered with your wheelchair. I suspect it's a competitor of the Qin Corporation. Luckily, Zhou Fan was vigilant. Qin Xingzhou's words left me stunned. Who, me? I seem to be the evil female antagonist. Qin Su solemnly held both my hands and awkwardly began to speak. Have you discovered something? You don't need to risk yourself. I believe you. Something's off. There's something way off here. She shouldn't be harboring such deep hatred for me, grinding her teeth, wanting to skin me alive. Should she? But the system praised me for doing well. Zhou Fan, you're truly a genius. First gain her trust, and then betray her ruthlessly. You truly are the chosen vicious female supporting character. You're going to turn me into an embryo. A week after being discharged from the hospital, Lu Heng appeared again. After disappearing for a few days, he had completely transformed. He raised his eyes to look at Qin Su, his gaze brimming with restrained, fervent love. Xiao Su, you don't want to see me because I left without saying goodbye all those years ago, don't you? Qin Su turned away, unwilling to meet his gaze. His outstretched hands gently fell back to his sides. His Adam's apple bobbing as he hesitated, wanting to say more. Broad shoulders, narrow waist, long legs, wet eyes focused only on Qin Su, looking like a puppy abandoned by its owner. I can't bear to watch this masterful tea art. Could I not recognize a green tea? Rushed between Lu Heng and Qin Su, accusing Lu Heng. You weren't there when Qin Su got into a car accident, and you weren't there when she was in the ICU. You were off enjoying yourself abroad when she slit her wrists. And now you're putting on this fake act. Even a trash bag can't hold as much as you. I tugged at Qin Su's sleeve, revealing several light and dark white marks on her wrist. Those were from when she thought she had caused her parents' death and secretly tried to take her own life. She was saved from the brink of death by Qin Xingzhou. Lu Heng hurriedly explained. It's not like that. I went abroad because uncle and aunt said that I was just a dog you raised in the Qin family. Unworthy to be by your side, so Qin Su's expression suddenly changed, and she abruptly turned to look at Lu Heng. What my parents said. Lu Heng knelt on one knee before Qin Su, his hands gently caressing her head. The intense pain and regret in his eyes lingered, refusing to dissipate. I shouldn't have left in a fit of anger. If I had known this would happen, I wouldn't have left you, no matter what your parents said. I'd rather be the one in the wheelchair today. Let me take care of you forever. Oh no, he's not following the script. In just a few days, he's evolved. He's grown a mouth. Qin Su's shoulders trembled slightly, as if moved to emotion, but the system said it wasn't time yet. I still needed to complete the tasks of the villainous female supporting character. I immediately turned to Qin Su and said, Miss, you said last night that you can't do without me. How about he takes Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I take Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday? I haven't even gotten my internship certificate and bonus yet. Lu Heng's face looked as if he had eaten something disgusting, and his gaze flickered uncertainly between the two of us. You too. He stormed out again, leaving the doorway empty. I chased to the door and shouted at his retreating back. Then how about you take weekends and I take Monday to Friday? Lu Heng ran even faster upon hearing the news. He hadn't agreed, but at least the job was secured. I breathed a sigh of relief and looked at Qin Su with a flattering smile. See, he says he'll take care of you. But when it comes to dividing the work, he's not even willing to do it on weekends, running off so quickly. He really is a scumbag. No one takes better care of you than me. I tried a different approach to ruin their relationship, bad-mouthing Lu Heng in front of Qin Su. Qin Su gritted her teeth in anger. Is that so? That's very bad. I nodded smugly. However, after working for 3 days, you got food poisoning and ended up in the hospital. I took care of you for a whole week, fetching tea and water for you. After you were discharged, you fell into a ditch and I took you to the hospital to get your teeth fixed. You even signed me up for a shuttlecock kicking competition and a wheelchair marathon. Who's really the nanny here? I gave an awkward smile and quietly stepped back. With a loud bang, I knocked over the vase in the corner. It was the adult gift Lu Heng had given Qin Su. Qin Su's eyes widened, and she took a deep breath. This vase is worth 5 million, you tell me. Pay up or go to jail. With a wailing face, I clung to her leg and cried out, Sis, can you give me an internship certificate before I go to jail? Qin Su has awakened. She's going to fix me. this evil supporting character, a full half year in advance. She threatened that she wouldn't give me my internship certificate unless I paid up. She's so mean. The system happily informed me that my task was progressing very smoothly. If I keep up the good work, the 10 million reward will be within my grasp. I can't bring myself to be happy. The reward is 10 million, but my debt is 50 million. In the end, it's still making me lose 40 million. Trusting the system means bad luck for a lifetime. There's no way I'm paying up. If not, just send me in, room and board included. I'd say I'm making a profit. Chin Su seems to have seen through my thoughts. Your monthly salary is 50,000 yuan. To earn 50 million, you'd need to work for 1,000 months, which is 83 years and 4 months. Rounding up to 84 years, you'll be 105 years old by the time you finish paying it off, if you even live that long. She went upstairs in a rather good mood. I cried tears of joy. No need to pay anything back. She said I could live and eat worry-free by her side until I'm 105 years old, a lifelong secure job. In other words, she's going to support me for life. The young lady is truly a kind person. I will never interfere with her relationship with the male lead again. As I cleaned up the shards of the vase, I noticed a small black box. The system excitedly exclaimed, "This is a listening device the male lead secretly left here, worried about the female lead's safety." How thoughtful, although it had already been damaged. This would make Chin Su know that she couldn't be more moved to the point of near death. I was just about to tell Chin Su this good news. Lu Heng returned, carrying the door on his back. He came back, panting heavily, not even glancing at me, and rushed straight to the trash can, rummaging through it with his bare hands, muttering to himself, "How did it disappear?" I patted his shoulder mysteriously and pulled out a black listening device from my pocket. "Are you looking for this? Did you put it there?" A flicker of surprise crossed Lu Heng's eyes. "Yes, that's it, Chin Su Shi." I nodded solemnly. "Don't worry, she doesn't know yet." I leaned in closer and whispered softly in his ear, "I'm on your side. I know what to do." Lu Heng's eyes were filled with gratitude as he handed me a check for 1 million yuan. "Please, I'm counting on you." As Lu Heng left, he kept looking back at me, and I nodded so vigorously it was like a chick pecking at rice. With that, the weight on his heart seemed to lift. Once he was gone, I carefully tucked away the check and promptly went to find Chin Su, bringing along the recording and the bug as proof of my accomplishment. "Miss, look at this great thing." After listening to the recording, Chin Su's expression darkened. From now on, no one is allowed to let Lu Heng into the house. She tightly gripped the surveillance monitor in her hand and placed it into the safe. "TSK, I asked the system what this was." The system remained silent for a moment, then replied, "In your human language, this is called saying one thing while meaning another, so that's what it is." Lu Heng somehow got hold of my phone number and asked me how the matter was progressing. I played dumb. I know exactly what to say and what not to say. Lu Heng completely treated me as one of his own, subtly asking me to convey some information about Chin Su. I can still tell the difference between 1 million in liquid funds and 5 million in debt. I racked my brains, wondering what message to pass on to Lu Heng. He loved Chin Su so much that he must be most concerned about her daily needs, so I held my phone and sent a message to Lu Heng. That evening, Chin Su once again snatched half a box of fried chicken from me. I secretly sent a message to Lu Heng with the remaining half box of fried chicken in my hand. She even wanted to snatch the freshly bought river snail noodles from me. That won't do. As a result, Chin Su saw the bright screen displaying the large words, "Lu Heng." Chin Su's face instantly turned cold. "Why are you in contact with him?" Oh no, she was jealous. I quickly opened the message and begged Chin Su to look at it. "Just take a look. There's really nothing between me and him." She pursed her lips tightly. "I'm not looking." She's angry. I forcefully placed my phone in front of her. The messages at the top were the ones I sent at mealtimes: small pot rice noodles, spicy mala tang, a box of fried chicken, 1.5 boxes of fried chicken. At the bottom was Lu Heng's latest reply: "Are you reciting a list of dishes? If you want to eat, buy it yourself," followed by a string of question marks. Chin Su finished reading, still with a stern face, not speaking. Oh no, she's really mad. I reluctantly handed over the extra spicy snail noodles I had just gotten. And in front of her, I blocked Lu Heng. Between a secure job until retirement and 1 million yuan, I know which one is more important. Later, Lu Heng came to visit Chin Su several times. Each time, I sent him away without mercy. Yes, I was taking personal revenge. All the gifts he sent were returned untouched. Chin Su doesn't know. I did it, hee, just a small favor. The relationship between the two reached a freezing point. Even Qin Xingzhou dared not mention him in front of Qin Su. Half a year had passed in the blink of an eye. I graduated smoothly. When my classmates learned that I was working as a nanny, they all scorned me, saying that my 4 years of schooling had been wasted. If they knew I was earning a monthly salary of 50,000 yuan, with 5 insurances and 1 fund, and that my meals and lodging were provided, they would probably envy my good fortune. Moreover, my major is rehabilitation. How is this not a match for my profession? The system informed me that it's a crucial plot point for the development of the main character's relationship. Recently, Lu Heng has been spending a lot of time with the female secondary character, Zhao Qingyue, and they are even getting engaged. The Zhao family is the biggest rival of the Qin group. The Zhao group was once firmly overshadowed by the Qin group. It wasn't until a few years ago when Qin's parents died in a car accident and Qin Su became paralyzed. Qin Xingzhou single-handedly supported the Qin group, allowing the Zhao group to exploit the situation. In the book, Lu Heng feigned allegiance to uncover the truth behind the car accident involving Qin Su and her parents. Working in concert with Qin Xingzhou, he spent years undercover and finally obtained evidence of the crimes committed by the Zhao group. After this engagement banquet, the male and female leads confronted their feelings for each other. Lu Heng avenged the Qin family. While Qin Su went abroad for treatment, after Qin Su returned to the country, Lu Heng had already avenged her, and the two of them finally came together, and I was about to exit the scene just before the engagement banquet. The engagement banquet was set for a week later, and that day happened to be Qin Su's birthday. When Qin Su heard the news of Lu Heng's engagement, she just, then continued to snatch the fried chicken I had just bought. Is she too calm? I asked the system. You don't understand, the education of a young lady is to remain unshaken like a mountain, even as the storm approaches. The system guarantees it. I looked at Qin Su with admiration. She stuffed the fried chicken into her mouth in one go. Her cheeks puffed out, and she looked at me triumphantly. I withdrew my admiring gaze and asked the system, "Are you sure?" The system fell silent. But given the relationship between the Qin family and Lu Heng, the wedding invitation still found its way to Qin Su's hands. She glanced at it indifferently and then tossed it aside, ignoring it. This was when I was supposed to step in. Lu Heng was raised by your parents, and he got his education and started his company all thanks to the Qin family's connections and resources. Before you know it, he's engaged to the daughter of the rival group. Ungrateful wretch. We have to expose his true nature. In my mind, I thought of my love-struck best friend, who I had advised to break up with 18 times but still got back together. The Qin Su before my eyes turned into my best friend's face, and I frantically shook her shoulders. No skill involved, just pure personal emotions. I genuinely scolded Lu Heng for an hour, without repeating myself. Qin Su widened her eyes, listening to me curse. When I finally got tired of scolding, Qin Su handed me a glass of water. I'll go. Alright, but you can't scold me after scolding him, okay? On the day of the engagement banquet, Qin Su dressed up in her finest attire. She didn't look like she was going to confront someone. She looked like she was going to steal the groom. Qin Hangzhou also looked very serious, his suit impeccably pressed. The nannies and butlers at the Qin family's ancestral home were all on high alert, a group of muscular men towering at 6 feet 3. Each holding a staff as thick as an arm. Such a grand display. The entire family mobilized for a wedding snatch. I never expected the young lady to enjoy coercive love. Now that things have come to this, it's time for me, the wicked supporting character, to exit the stage. Taking advantage of their rush to the engagement banquet, I quickly packed my bags and fled. The check Lu Heng gave me had already been cashed long ago. To get me to deliver messages and gifts, he didn't skimp on the money. I booked the earliest flight out of the country. The country was small, but the expert who could cure Qin Su was teaching at a university here. After landing, I quickly opened my phone to search for news about the Qin group. The trending topic had been at the top for a full day. Hashtag adopted son of the Qin family accused of hiring a hitman. Hashtag Zhao group and Qin group's historic reconciliation. Hashtag who? The adopted son of the Qin family. It's only Lu Heng, isn't it? Oh no. A romance story turned into a legal news report. I trembled as I clicked open the file. On the day of the engagement banquet, someone among the guests live-streamed the entire event. When Lu Heng and Zhao Qingyue went on stage to receive everyone's blessings, Zhao Qingyue's eyes were filled with tenderness. I've prepared a generous gift for you. Lu Heng's excitement was palpable. Zhao Qingyue's father promised to invest in Lu Heng's company after their engagement. Waiting for the public announcement, Zhao Qingyue clapped her hands, and the banquet hall doors opened, revealing Qin Xingzhou pushing Qin Su inside. A large group of bodyguards followed behind. The Zhao family showed no intention of stopping them. Zhao Qingyue pushed Qin Su onto the stage. Lu Heng stood to the side, forcing a smile. I grew up in the Qin family, and they are like my real siblings. Qingyue, you've put in a lot of effort. But Qin Su wasn't planning to give him any face. Didn't you message me the day before yesterday, saying you'd love only me for the rest of your life? Lu Heng hurriedly explained to Zhao Qingyue. Qingyue, it's not like that. She's liked me for so many years, and now that she's paralyzed, if I don't go along with her, she'll kill herself. Qin Su let out a cold laugh. I don't have time today to discuss matters of love and affection. I'm here to settle the score for my parents. A video appeared on the large screen. It was 4 years ago. A conversation between Qin Su's parents and Lu Heng. Xiao Su is only 18, just a young girl, not yet mature. Work hard, and we've already paved the way for you. If after a few years you still have this intention, we will support it. Lu Heng outwardly complied, but after the Qin family parents left, he viciously cursed, old bastards, don't you just look down on me for being an orphan, all these years. You've treated me like a dog. The scene shifted to the garage. Lu Heng's large face suddenly appeared in front of the camera. He emerged from a car. Let's see how many lives you have. Next came footage from a road intersection surveillance camera. The time was a month later. Qin Su's parents brought her along and got into the car. The brakes failed. The vehicle flipped over, and only Qin Su survived the accident. Lu Heng's face turned pale. He had no idea why this footage had ended up in Qin Su's hands. Lu Heng. Ever since you told me that my parents treated you like a dog in our family, I've been suspicious of you. Later, I found the bug you placed in the vase. 4 years ago, you had already started monitoring me. My brother and I found countless hidden cameras in the old mansion. Lucky for us, all the data from these years can be recovered. You've long forgotten about the things you once set up, haven't you? I watched the video over and over again. I watched Qin Su's lonely back. Watched Lu Heng being arrested by the police. I anxiously conversed with the system. I suspect you're lying to me. What kind of male lead is this? But the system's voice had vanished forever. All that remained was the extra 10 million in the bank account. Transfer details. Save the female lead system. I kept an eye on the developments, and it was announced that the Qin and Zhao corporations had formed a partnership. Lu Heng was convicted of intentional homicide and confessed without reservation. He is likely to be executed within the next 2 years. As for Qin Su, only occasional photos of her coming and going from the hospital surfaced. It was clear to see that the muscles in her legs were gradually recovering. It seems the professor has successfully reached Qin Su's side. And I applied for graduate school in this small country to continue my studies. 2 years have passed. The system has long since left my body. I gradually forgot many things from the past. Vaguely, I remember having a love-struck best friend and a boyfriend with dyed yellow hair. There was also someone else. A woman with poor mobility who loved fried chicken and luosafen. She liked pink and dolls. She seemed like my nanny, taking care of me in the hospital, fetching takeout for me, accompanying me on walks, and holding an umbrella for me. I shook my head. Something wasn't right. Hiring a nanny in a wheelchair, who's taking care of whom here? Just as I was lost in thought, I suddenly heard someone calling my name, Zhou Fan, in a foreign land. Her pronunciation is so clear and standard. I quickly turned around. A beautiful Chinese girl waved at me. Do I know her? She stood with her hands on her hips, shouting loudly, "You still owe me a vase worth 50 million. Qin Su's side story. I've always had a feeling since I was young that Lu Heng and I were destined for each other. He often watches me from behind with that intense gaze of his. Of course, with a beauty like mine, who wouldn't want to look, but every time I turn around, he pretends he doesn't care at all. I confessed my feelings to him, but he said I disgusted him and hastily left for abroad. I never heard from him again, and during a drive with my parents to cheer me up, we got into a car accident. They were gone. I can no longer stand up. My brother is worried about me, so he hired someone to take care of me. But my brother doesn't know that living has lost all meaning for me. Since my brother wants me to live, I'll just drag out this miserable existence. My older brother had hired different nannies to take care of me before. They would feed me cold leftovers and deliberately arrange the house like a morning hall to scare me. In short, as soon as I threw a tantrum, They could cry to my brother and demand extra mental damage compensation. Before leaving, that was until Zhou Fan arrived. She saw the state of the living room and angrily put away my portrait, painted the living room in my favorite pink, and displayed all my favorite dolls. Finally, there was a hint of life in this home. These are all the things my mother wouldn't let me like. She said I was a young lady from a wealthy family and couldn't like such childish things. I could only buy them secretly and hide them in the storage room. But the dolls were stained with wall paint. I threatened to deduct her pay if she didn't clean it properly. She actually cleaned it. No, a 500 yuan doll. Was it really worth going that hard? Or, I get it now. She must also like Jellycat. She's truly special. At dinner, Lu Heng came by again to deliver food, mushroom and seafood. I'm allergic to seafood. I'm angry that he left without saying goodbye back then. Now that he's back, he won't explain a single word, occasionally popping up in front of me. Only to leave in a hurry. Cheap. Zhou Fan said that Luossifen was my dinner. Lu Heng still questioned. Who does he think he is to meddle in my affairs? I'll eat it. This thing smells not so great, but it tastes quite special. SSSH, so spicy, so delicious. I'll have it again next time. Poor Zhou Fan, stuck eating those bland meals, but unexpectedly, the mushrooms weren't fully cooked, and Zhou Fan had bouts of vomiting and diarrhea in the middle of the night. I was a bit worried and paced back and forth outside her door several times. Finally, when I heard the sounds inside getting closer, I opened the door. Zhou Fan lay across my lap, saying she didn't want to die. She was really noisy. She said she hasn't traveled abroad yet, hasn't earned a lot of money. What about me? What is the meaning of my life? Zhou Fan is very responsible, taking care of me even in the hospital. I found out that I wanted to eat fried skewers. Mom wouldn't let me, saying no proper young lady would eat such junk food, but Zhou Fan secretly bought them for me, and claimed it was because she wanted to eat them herself. Deception in words but not in heart. When leaving the hospital, Zhou Fan insisted on sitting in my wheelchair without any explanation, considering how many wishes she fulfilled for me these past few days. I'll let her have it. Unexpectedly, Zhou Fan almost got into an accident. She calmly drove into the ditch, avoiding a human disaster. Hiss. Missing 2 front teeth is so ugly, and she was already not good looking to begin with. Forget it, I'll just spend some money to get her teeth fixed. But then I thought, Zhou Fan isn't the type to make unreasonable demands. There must be something wrong with the wheelchair. I had my brother check the surveillance footage, and sure enough, someone had tampered with the brakes. Zhou Fan must have discovered this. Did she do it to prove herself, risking her own safety because she was afraid I wouldn't believe her? All right, I promise, I will believe every word she says from now on. Lu Heng is here again. This time, he finally agrees to explain. He says that back then, my parents humiliated him, treating him like a dog in our family, and they used the kindness they had shown him over the years to threaten him. Clumsy. Only Zhou Fan, the fool, would believe such nonsense and be moved to tears. Fool. But when Lu Heng said he wanted to take care of me for a lifetime, Zhou Fan came charging out. She spoke in a sarcastic, eerie tone, scaring Lu Heng away. This time, at least, my brother's money wasn't wasted, but she said she would take good care of me. I was furious. Come on, these days, I'm the one taking care of her. As a result, she freaked out and broke another vase of mine, worth 5 million. My chest felt a bit heavy, and tonight I didn't really want to see her. But I could make her work for me for the rest of her life. That seemed pretty good, but I never expected that inside this vase, there would be a listening device. A thick layer of dust had settled. Zhou Fan said it was Lu Heng who put it there. I remember, it was his gift to me for my coming of age. So, when was the bug planted? I dare not think about it. I handed this over to my brother, asking someone to restore the data. My brother told me, Lu Heng is deep in thought, too self-deprecating. Mom and Dad didn't originally think highly of you too, but Lu Heng was raised under their eyes since childhood, so they still wanted to give him a chance. And the wheelchair, someone tampered with it. That person was Lu Heng's assistant's cousin-in-law. On the day of discharge, Lu Heng came by, but he didn't show himself, probably hoping for a heroic rescue to make me fall even more for him. The passionate love of youth, it turns out, is also a sharp blade. It knows where it hurts the most. It stabs in the same place, until blood and flesh are indistinguishable. Zhou Fan told me about her love-struck best friend, warning me not to be blinded by love. She deflected the gifts Lu Heng sent back. What if they've hidden some cameras or listening devices? I recalled what Lu Heng had said. how he found me as a child through surveillance. Suddenly, an idea struck me. Perhaps there were some clues left behind in the old mansion. The older generation of the Qin family has already passed away. And those who remain are indebted to my parents, refusing to leave the Qin family no matter what. They found countless cameras. The truth pieced together plunged me into an abyss. I had considered kidnapping Lu Hang and torturing him, but Zhou Fan told me to expose this scumbag on the spot, to let him receive the punishment he deserves. Yes, let the law punish him. I approached Xiao Qingyue, my former arch-nemesis. I didn't tell her the whole truth. I only said that Lu Hang had deceived my feelings. Coincidentally, she didn't want to marry Lu Hang either, so she helped me out. I watched that video countless times. When Lu Hang was finally taken away, I couldn't hold back my tears. I was the one who killed my parents. I really didn't want to live anymore, but my brother said that a medical professor had come all the way to the country specifically to treat me. He cried. He said that our parents were gone, and we had already made our enemies pay. If there must be a reason to go on living, would he be enough? He is the only family I have left in this world. Likewise, I am too. He was only 30, yet his hair was already turning white. I agreed. The surgery wasn't entirely smooth, but it wasn't too bad either. After some repairs, in the end, I stood up. During the year of rehabilitation, I felt as if I had forgotten someone. I asked my brother why no one was taking care of me. He scratched his head. The previous nannies didn't take good care of you. I fired them and hired a college student. That college student, she quit after graduating. College student, fragments of memories occasionally surface in my mind. She sat on my lap as I wheeled her to the hospital, being ordered around by her. Later, she tried to take my wheelchair, only to fall into a ditch of foul water herself, knocking out 2 of her front teeth. She signed me up for a shuttlecock kicking competition, while she herself had a great time playing with a group of grandpas and grandmas. Then there was the wheelchair marathon, where she insisted on pushing me to run. Eventually, she was chased away by the staff nanny, who's taking care of whom. I smiled helplessly. What was her name again? I can't seem to remember. On the last day of my rehabilitation training, I met a family of 3. My wife, holding our daughter in her arms, spoke to me. Miss, you're really amazing. In just 1 year, you've recovered to this extent. I also know a girl in a wheelchair, and that girl, she's so clumsy, with legs perfectly fine. She insisted on sitting in a wheelchair, only to fall into a ditch of stinking water. Isn't that hilarious? I laughed heartily, but suddenly the image flashed back in my mind. Sister, what's the name of that girl in the wheelchair you mentioned? She paused for a moment, then pulled out a photo of them with a young girl. The girl grinned, her teeth gleaming white. The vague figures in the dream suddenly had faces. The girl in the wheelchair, the brakes are broken. The girl in the wheelchair, the brakes are broken. I was about to give birth, and my husband was in a hurry, so he didn't notice her. I was about to give birth, and my husband was in a hurry, so he didn't notice her. As a result, she swerved into the nearby ditch to avoid hitting our car. Later, after the child was born, she sent us many gifts, saying she almost caused us harm. Her name, it's Zhou Fan, System Extra. I am the Save the Female Lead system, capable of correcting the storyline. In this book, the female lead is injured and becomes paralyzed. The male lead is the enemy who killed her parents and caused her paralysis. Yet, in the end, the 2 of them end up together happily ever after. I can't accept this. I found a college student who seemed a bit slow and had her correct the storyline for me, the vicious female antagonist. This role suits me well. As long as I can ruin the romance between the male and female leads, that's all that matters. College students are still too naive, clinging to the persona of the vicious female antagonist. The heroine's fondness for her kept growing, and she panicked. What's there to panic about? But she's quite sharp, having discovered the bug, I said sarcastically. The male lead is so thoughtful towards the female lead. She believed it. She even took the recording with the male lead to the female lead to take credit. This confirmed that the male lead was indeed the one responsible. The clever female lead immediately thought of her family. Goodness, a whole floor of 300 square meters, and the male lead secretly installed 30 cameras. There's also the surveillance camera in the garage. Such foresight. Indeed worthy of being the protagonist, thoughtful. This system is going to give her a little reward. Let's reward these data that were originally thought to be irrecoverable. The male lead was sent in, satisfying. The plot had completely changed. What followed was Qin Su's strong female lead storyline. This system is off to the next world. After hearing the two stories above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.